Today is Monday, Parashat Miketz. Parashat Miketz is read during the week of Hanukkah. We're going to read it this coming Shabbat. And the beginning of the parasha tells us about the dream of Pharaoh. He dreams about 7 fat cows being swallowed by 7 thin cows. And he dreams about 7 ears of grain that are fat being swallowed by 7 ears of grain that are very thin. And he's very perturbed by this dream. He's very bothered because after all, he's the head of the empire of Egypt, the powerful Egypt, and it doesn't make sense. His whole country relies on the military strength, on the size of its army, on the physical aspect of what is bigger should win over what is smaller. He cannot have such a thing as fat cows being swallowed by the weak, thin cows. And he's very bothered by that. And that's when he tries to find an explanation of his dreams. But interestingly enough, this parasha is read during the week of Hanukkah on Shabbat, because after all, this is one of the messages of the holiday of Hanukkah. When the formidable armies of the Greeks were won over by a small little group of Hashmonaim, the Maccabees, it's a family, Yochanan, Mattatyahu, and the grandchildren. It was this 3 generations, this small group of people that won against a formidable army of the Greeks, just like this thin cows swallowed fat cows. And like we say in the Anisim, Rabbim be'ad me'atim, the many were given in the hands of the few. And because you cannot rely just on the physical aspect. There was a miracle on Hanukkah, and the miracle of Hanukkah goes beyond what is typically found when you go by the laws of physics or the laws of nature, which is a great cow cannot be swallowed up by a thin cow. Well, when there is a miracle, even those things can happen. But speaking about miracles, if the flask of oil was enough to light for 1 day, then the extra 7 days that it lit are the miracle. But why do we celebrate the miracle of Hanukkah for 8 days? Shouldn't it be only 7 days? Because the additional 7 days, naturally you'd think that's the miracle. Well, to explain that, I'll refer to a story that is brought about Rabbi Hanina ben Dosa, who was a very, very learned man, and he was a righteous person, he was a pious person, yet he was a very poor man, and he would eat from Erev Shabbat to Erev Shabbat just a cup of carobs. He had very meager sustenance. He was a person that was very poor, and one time his wife didn't have oil to light on for Shabbat candles. So he asked her, "Do you have vinegar?" She said, "Yes." So he told her, Hashem, who tells the oil to light, will tell the vinegar to light. Why shouldn't he tell her, let Hashem make a miracle and let the vinegar light? He wanted to insinuate that even the fact that oil lights up is in itself a miracle. Hashem makes it happen that way. So even whatever happens in nature happens because Hashem wills it, because Hashem makes it that way, just like it says, Mehadesh bechol yom tamid ma'aseh bereshit. Hashem renews every day ma'aseh bereshit, the creation of the world, so to speak. So even nature in itself is a miracle. And if nature, Hashem makes it as a miracle, when we go out of the realm of what is naturally acceptable, of course that's also a miracle, but we notice those miracles because they're more obvious to us. But truly, even the fact that the oil should light in itself is something that Hashem makes it happen, and it's quote unquote a miracle. And therefore that's why we light the Hanukkah candles for 8 days, and not just for the 7 extra days, which we would think according to nature that would be the extra days would be the miracle. No, but even the first day in itself, because everything that happens in this world, even nature itself that we take for granted, is because Hashem makes it happen, and it's all for Him. Whether it's a natural or the unnatural, it's all like part of one great miracle And this is one of the messages of Hanukkah. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen.